Scorpio, stop scrolling for 1 second, because if you found this message tonight, it may be the universe's quiet signature on the very thing you've been praying for. Not the money as noise, not the breakthrough as ego, but the kind of provision that arrives like a warm hand on your shoulder at the exact moment you are about to give up. This is not here to convince you. It's here to recognize you. The mission inside you, the one you kept alive in silence, the one you protected when nobody clapped, has been seen. And when the universe approves a mission, it doesn't just send inspiration. It sends resources. It sends timing. It sends people. It sends a door where there used to be a wall. So take a slow breath, Scorpio. You've been carrying something heavy that most people will never understand. On the outside, you might look fine, but inside, you've been holding your breath for months, maybe years, waiting for a sign that your effort isn't disappearing into a void. You've been doing the invisible work, healing old patterns, cutting cords, learning boundaries, rebuilding your self-worth after seasons that drained you. And that invisible work matters more than any shortcut. Because the universe doesn't just drop money into any open hand, it drops it into a nervous system that can hold it without panic. It pours it into a heart that won't sabotage it. It entrusts it to a soul that understands money is not the finish line, it's the fuel. That's why your path has felt like a strange mixture of almost and not yet. Doors cracked open, then closed. Opportunities appeared, then vanished. It wasn't cruelty, it was refinement. It was your spirit learning how to stand in the frequency of receiving without gripping it like a survival rope. Right now, the energy around you is shifting in a way that feels subtle but undeniable. You might notice it in the body first, a restlessness you can't explain, sleep that's lighter than usual, random waves of emotion that rise and fall like tides, moments of sudden clarity that feel like lightning in the mind. These aren't glitches, these are signals. When a big money breakthrough is preparing to land, Scorpio, it often announces itself through internal reordering before external proof arrives. Because your inner world is the landing pad. If the runway is cluttered with fear, shame, or old scarcity vows, the blessing circles overhead and waits. But if your runway is clear, if your heart is steady, your mind is softer, your boundaries are cleaner, the blessing lands, not as chaos, as confirmation. So let's talk about mission approved, because that phrase isn't poetic fluff. It's a spiritual pattern. Many Scorpios aren't here to live small. You're here to transform things, systems, families, your own lineage, the way love is done, the way money is held, the way power is used. You're often the one who ends cycles simply by refusing to repeat them. That is a mission. And missions attract funding, not always from the place you expect. Sometimes it arrives through a new opportunity, sometimes through a person who suddenly says yes, sometimes through a delayed payment that finally releases, sometimes through an idea that becomes income, sometimes through a door you didn't even know existed because you weren't supposed to see it until you were ready to walk through it without shrinking. But before the breakthrough shows its face, the universe usually asks a question, and it asks it quietly. Are you ready to carry what you requested? Not receive it emotionally in the moment, but carry it responsibly afterward. Are you ready to hold abundance without self-destructing? Are you ready to have money without chasing validation? Are you ready to be seen without abandoning yourself? Because wealth amplifies. It amplifies the healed parts, and it also amplifies the unhealed parts. If your inner world still believes you're unworthy, money becomes anxiety. If your inner world still believes love must be earned, money becomes control. If your inner world still believes safety is fragile, money becomes hoarding. This is why the universe doesn't just give. It initiates, it trains, it prepares. And Scorpio, preparation is not perfection. It's permission. Permission to clear what drains you. Permission to stop bargaining with people who only love you when you're useful. Permission to stop treating your intuition like a cute hobby instead of a real compass. Permission to stop living in a financial identity that was built during survival. Some of you learned to associate money with danger, arguments, betrayal, instability, power struggles. Some of you learned to associate money with shame, feeling like you don't deserve it, feeling guilty if you have more than others, feeling bad for wanting ease. Some of you learned to associate money with pressure, like you must suffer to earn it, like ease is suspicious. Those stories are not you, those are old scripts, and a mission-approved season often begins with the gentle unlearning of the scripts that can't travel with you into the next timeline. Picture your life like a house you built years ago, Scorpio, when you were trying to survive, when you were making choices from pain, when you were building with whatever materials you could find. That house kept you safe. It served you. But now, your destiny is expanding. The foundation that once protected you may now feel too small, not because it was wrong, because you've outgrown it. And when the universe wants to expand you, it often sends tower energy, not to punish you, to liberate you, to remove the structures that can't hold your next level. Sometimes that tower looks like an ending you didn't plan. Sometimes it looks like a truth you can't unsee. Sometimes it looks like a sudden boundary. Sometimes it looks like you finally admitting this isn't working anymore. That moment is holy. That moment is your spirit choosing itself, and it creates space. Space is the true currency before money arrives. If money is energy, it needs room. If abundance is a flow, it needs a clean channel. So your first act of wealth activation is not earning. It's clearing. Clearing resentment you keep recycling. Clearing emotional clutter you've been dragging from year to year. Clearing relationships that require you to shrink. Clearing habits that leak your power. Clearing the inner voice that insults you in private. Because Scorpio, you can't receive a blessing while you're still agreeing with the curse. You can't hold a new future while you keep rehearsing the old fear. That's why lately you might feel the urge to declutter your space, to delete a contact, to stop explaining yourself, to pay off a small bill that has been lingering for no reason, to finish something you left half done. These aren't random chores, they're energetic closures, and closures create openings. Now let's talk about the kind of money breakthrough that follows mission approval, because it doesn't always arrive wearing a neon sign that says miracle. Sometimes it shows up like a seed, small, quiet, unimpressive to the eye. An idea, a message, a chance meeting, an offer that makes you nervous because it stretches your identity. A sudden moment where you realize you are done tolerating less. And in tarot language, this is the Ace of Pentacles energy, an opportunity, a contract, a divine agreement. Not just money, but a new foundation. A new start that can grow into something real if you treat it like a sacred seed instead of a quick fix. Here's the part that separates Scorpios who receive once from Scorpios who enter a sustained era of flow, stewardship. When the universe approves your mission, it doesn't fund your ego. It funds your impact. It funds what you're building. It funds the healed version of you, so when the money arrives, you'll feel an instinct. That first instinct is revealing. It will show you how you relate to abundance. If your instinct is to prove yourself, pause. If your instinct is to hide it, pause. If your instinct is to spend impulsively to numb an emotion, pause. Not because spending is bad, but because you are moving into a new role, not consumer, channel. That's the upgrade. And yes, it's intense. Scorpio upgrades are never gentle. They're sacred surgery. Imagine for a moment that the universe is placing an envelope in your hands. Inside is not just money. Inside is responsibility. Not heavy responsibility, the kind that burdens you, but luminous responsibility, the kind that empowers you. It asks, what will you build now that you're no longer trapped in survival? What will you heal now that you have support? Who will you become when you no longer have to squeeze your dreams into the leftover corners of your life? These questions aren't meant to pressure you, they're meant to awaken you. Because money without meaning is empty, but money with mission becomes medicine. It becomes protection. It becomes a new lineage. It becomes freedom, not just for you, but for the people your life touches. And the universe has watched you, Scorpio. It has watched the integrity you kept when nobody saw. It has watched the hard decisions you made alone. It has watched the moments you could have chosen comfort but chose truth. It has watched the nights you held yourself together with nothing but faith and stubborn breath. Those moments are not lost. They are recorded, not by a judge in the sky with a gavel, but by the laws of cause and effect, by the mysterious intelligence that shapes timing. When you move with integrity, you create a kind of spiritual credit, not transactional, relational. The universe learns this soul can be trusted. And trust is what opens the vault. So here is the inner work that makes the outer breakthrough inevitable. First, regulate your nervous system like it matters, because it does. When the body is in constant survival mode, it rejects receiving. It can't hold good things. It turns blessings into stress. This week, practice small, sacred signals. Drink water before you check your phone. Take 10 slow breaths before you respond to anything that triggers you. Step into sunlight for 2 minutes like it's a ritual, not a task. Eat in a way that honors your power, not perfection, but respect. Speak to yourself like you're someone you love. These are not self-care trends. They are frequency training. They tell your body, I am safe enough to receive, and safety is magnetic. Second, update your language. Language is a spell, Scorpio, not fantasy spell, neurological spell. If you keep saying, I can't afford it, your mind builds a world where you're always locked out. Try shifting to, I'm choosing where my resources go. That one sentence changes your posture. It changes your identity from victim to creator. It doesn't require you to be rich. It requires you to be conscious. And consciousness is where wealth begins. Third, clean up your energetic leaks. Where do you overgive? Where do you over-explain? Where do you keep one foot in a door that your soul already closed? Where do you keep arguing with reality instead of building with it? Each leak drains your power. Each leak delays the feeling of readiness. Money moves toward clarity. Opportunity moves toward decisiveness. Support moves toward someone who honors themselves enough to stop bleeding quietly. Now, because your audience loves activation, let's weave it in a way that feels sacred, not salesy. Scorpio, if you are still listening, you didn't come here for random motivation. You came here because something in you is waking up. So write this in the comments, not for the algorithm, but for your own energetic signal. I am ready to receive what supports my mission. And if you want a second line, one that cuts the old timeline clean, type, I release the story that says I must suffer to be supported. Those aren't magic words, they're declarations. They tell your mind, your body, and your life, we are changing direction. Because that's what this season is. A direction change. Not a lottery fantasy, not a childish promise, not a desperate escape. A real shift. A mature shift. A shift where money becomes a tool instead of a god. A shift where you stop chasing external proof and start building internal stability. A shift where you understand that the universe doesn't reward your panic. It responds to your alignment. And here's the secret Scorpio truth. The big breakthrough often comes after you stop begging, after you stop rehearsing the worst-case scenario, after you stop watching your life like a movie where you have no control. When you stand up inside yourself, quietly, steadily, and you say, I am available for what is meant for me, things move, not always instantly but unmistakably, because your posture changes, your energy changes, your decisions change. You start seeing openings you used to ignore. You start choosing differently. You start acting like someone whose mission is approved, and the world responds to that. So if the universe is approving your mission, what is your mission actually asking of you? It might be asking you to take your gift seriously, to charge for your skill without guilt, to stop hiding your talent behind humility that's actually fear, to stop letting old wounds make your decisions, to stop letting other people's skepticism rent space in your mind, to do the thing you keep postponing because you want it to be perfect. Scorpio, your next timeline doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. It requires consistency. It requires you to show up. Because consistency is a portal. The heavens don't open for one dramatic moment. They open for the daily yes, the daily ritual, the daily act of self-respect, the daily alignment. That is how you become a match for sustained prosperity, not temporary spikes. And sustained prosperity is what mission approval is about, not a flashy moment, a new foundation. Now let me speak to the Scorpio who has been silently afraid of receiving. Yes, you. The one who wants abundance but fears what it might expose. The one who worries people will judge you, use you, envy you, or abandon you if you rise. The one who feels safer struggling because at least struggle is familiar. Scorpio, that fear is not weakness, it's memory. But you are not here to stay loyal to the version of you that had to survive. You are here to become the version of you that can thrive. And thriving doesn't make you selfish. It makes you equipped. It makes you capable of protecting your peace, your family, your future. It makes you a lighthouse instead of a lifeboat. Lifeboats are always in emergency. Lighthouses are steady. You are becoming steady, and when the breakthrough comes, whether as a new job offer, a sudden client, a paid idea, a delayed payment, a surprising refund, a supportive partnership, a new stream of income, receive it like a steward. Pause, breathe, bless it. Ask, how do I use this with wisdom? That question alone keeps you in alignment. That question keeps the flow clean. That question turns a transaction into a transmission. And now we reach the ending, the place where the message becomes yours, not mine. Scorpio, this narrative is a mirror, a reflection of a potential timeline, a story whispered into the universe for those who are meant to hear it. This is a journey into one grand possibility, a thought experiment for the soul. If it resonates, if it wakes up something quiet but undeniable inside you, take what you need. Hold the parts that feel true. Let them become your next step. If it doesn't resonate, let it pass like a cloud across a restless sky. Not every message is for every soul, and you don't have to force belief to be worthy of blessing. What matters is your honesty, your alignment, your willingness to return to your center. And please remember, Scorpio, this is spiritual guidance and symbolic storytelling meant to support your reflection and your faith, not a guarantee of outcomes, not financial advice, and not a replacement for practical planning or professional help when you need it. Keep your feet on the ground while your spirit reaches for the stars. Let intuition guide you and let wisdom steady you. That balance, that holy balance, is how miracles become real life. If you made it to the end, comment "Mission Approved" and drop 888 beneath it, not as superstition, but as a clear signal to yourself that you are choosing a new frequency. Like this video, if it felt like a hand on your shoulder at the right moment. Subscribe so you don't miss the next message meant to find you. And if you know someone who has been praying in silence, share this with them. Because sometimes you become the answer to someone else's prayer just by passing a light forward. Scorpio, go gently but go forward. The universe doesn't approve missions for decoration. It approves missions because the world needs what you carry. And the money breakthrough that follows isn't just about comfort. It's about capacity. It's about impact. It's about you finally having the support to build what your soul has been trying to build all along.